Greetings from Vegas. There are 13 games tomorrow, so I'm going to do the preview tonight, and I'm going to apologize straight up front. Normally, I do the ad breaks. I manually edit the ad breaks. I am not staying up tonight to do that. I'm going to record this. I'm going to set it to upload, and then I apologize if the ad breaks are all over the place. I know that YouTube tends to stuff them at the start. When I get up in the morning, I will go through and edit them, but between now and when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to leave them, and I'm probably not going to get a lot of sleep tonight. So let's go ahead and start things off with Buffalo and St. Louis. So the Sabres come into tomorrow night's action at 21-11-5. St. Louis comes in at 14-16-2 over their last 10. Buffalo's 4-4-2, and they won their last game. St. Louis is 5-4-1. They won their last game. So over their last 10, St. Louis has more wins than Buffalo, and this is why I have some concerns with Buffalo. But Buffalo's leading scorer, Jack Eichel, 14 goals, 34 assists. Skinner's next with 26 goals and 12 assists. Reinhart, 8 goals, 26 assists. Ristolainen, 4 goals, 20 assists. And Dahlin, 4 goals and 16 assists. On the disappointing side, or leaving us wanting more side, Gergensen's at 3 goals and 5 assists. I tell you, man, after that rookie season where he looked so promising, Gergensen's just hasn't had any offense to his game. Sobotka, 3 goals and 2 assists. Kind of always leaves me wanting more. And there's a number of guys in this category right now that used to be Bruins, which is interesting. Hutton's got a 13-10-2 record, 2.58 goals against, 917 save percentage. I would expect him to play tomorrow. The sites that I check have not got any confirmation on who's playing net tomorrow. Ullmark's 8-1-3 with a 2.71 goals against, 922 save percentage. I'd expect him to be the backup. On the St. Louis side, their leading scorers, O'Reilly, 13 goals, 19 assists. Tarasenko, 11 goals and 11 assists. Schenn, 7 goals, 15 assists. Perron, 9 goals, 12 assists. Bozak, 5 goals, 10 assists. Steen is on the disappointing side for me in that 6 goals, 6 assists. He's below a half a point a game. I know he's getting older. I know he's on the decline. It's been a sharp decline in my eyes when it comes to his scoring potential. And Maroon. And I understand him going to his hometown was a big story, but 2 goals and 8 assists is not what they were banking on when they signed him. Bennington has no record, 3.18 goals against, 833 save percentage. I expect Jake Allen tomorrow night. Allen's 12-10-4 with a 3.09 goals against, 900 save percentage. So it'll be an interesting game. If I was wagering on this, I'd say Buffalo. I'd go with Buffalo, and I don't really have a reason other than I'd go with Buffalo. All right, let's move on. Next game, the Calgary Flames in against the Winnipeg Jets. The Flames are 22-12-3, and this is an excellent test for both teams as they're in against the 24-10-2 Winnipeg Jets. The Jets can really solidify themselves as the best team in the West with a win. If Calgary can win this in regulation, they pull themselves right back within striking distance of Winnipeg. And for Calgary, they're one of those teams that I'm going to watch really, really carefully to see how they do in the second half. I know we're not to the halfway mark of the season, but for some, the halfway mark is kind of the Christmas break. I know for some, the halfway mark is kind of the All-Star break, and they tend to track things after the All-Star break a little bit more than before. But for me, I still think we're around the halfway mark, and it's interesting to see how things go from here. Calgary's 6-3-1 in their last 10. They lost 3 in a row. Winnipeg's 8-2, and they've won 2 in a row. So they're kind of going in different directions. Gaudreau, 16 goals and 32 assists for him to lead the team in scoring. Tkachuk, 16 goals, 26 assists. Monahan, 21 goals, 19 assists. Lindholm, 17 goals, 22 assists. Giordano, 6 goals and 29 assists. And if we're talking about a disappointing total, James Neal at 3 goals and 4 assists really stands out. Riddick, I would expect, starts for them 11-4-2, 2.29 goals against, 923 save percentage, which would make Smith the backup at 11-8-1, 3.00 goals against, and an 888 save percentage. On the Winnipeg side of things, Scheifele leads them in scoring with 22 goals, 27 assists, followed by Wheeler at 5 goals, 43 assists, Laine, 23 goals and 7 assists for 30 points, Connor, 13 goals, 15 assists, Byfuglien, 4 goals, 24 assists. And the only one I could kind of come up with as a disappointment in his totals so far, and he's a rookie, so is Roslovic with 2 goals, 5 assists. I know he's played limited minutes. It's kind of nitpicking, but Kind of expected some more offense from him this early in his career. I know it's nitpicking. I expect Hellebuck to be starting, which would make Brossoit the backup. Brossoit's 8-1-1 with a 2.11 goals against, 939 save percentage. Hellebuck 16-9-1 with a 2.9 goals against, 909 save percentage. It'll be an interesting game because, again, we kind of expect Calgary to fall back. A lot of us do. Not necessarily out of the playoffs like last year, but looking at them as being number one in the division, there's kind of I don't know if they're a number one team. And it's going to depend a lot on Riddick, on what Riddick does. My concern with Calgary coming into the season was their goaltending. And Riddick has helped allay a lot of those fears, but can he do it over a full season? That's where the question mark comes in. That said, let us move on to the next one, which is the Nashville Predators, who are at home against Dallas. Wunderbar. Fantastic. Dallas is 18-16-3. Nashville's 22-13-2, and Nashville should come into tomorrow night's action nice and angry. Dallas is 4-6 in their last 10. They lost their last game. Nashville's 4-5-1, and they lost 4 in a row going into the break. So again, Nashville's at home. They should be angry, and Dallas on the road makes me nervous, as usual. They don't have a great road record. Sagan leads Dallas in scoring with 11 goals, 21 assists. Ben, 15 goals, 15 assists. Radulov, 11 goals, 18 assists. Spezza, 5 goals, 14 assists. Heiskanen, 7 goals and 10 assists. On the downside, I've got Janmark with 2 goals and 10 assists and Nichushkin with 5 assists. When they brought Nichushkin back, I had expected more than 0 goals. I didn't expect a lot, but I expected more than 0. 0 is a disappointing total in goals for Nichushkin. Absolutely. I have no qualms with saying that. In net, I expect Bishop. Bishop's 12-9-1 with a 2.31 goals against, 923 save percentage. Hudobin 6-7-2 with a 2.81 goals against, 911 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Johansson's their leading scorer with 6 goals, 25 assists. Yossi, 7 goals, 21 assists. Forsberg, 14 goals, 8 assists. Ekholm, 3 goals, 19 assists. And Craig Smith rounds out the top 5 scorers with 10 goals and 8 assists. On the goaltending side, I expect Rene. Rene's 14-8-1, 2.15 goals against, 924 save percentage. Saros would be the backup at 8-5-1, 3.05 goals against, 894 save percentage. I would expect Nashville to come out of this game very, very quickly. And it really is gonna depend on what Dallas does with those first 5 or 10 minutes of the game. Because Nashville at home really should be energized coming off of the break and looking at their recent record. Nashville's not in any sort of trouble. There's really no danger of them missing the playoffs. They would have to lose about 12 in a row before we start having that conversation. And I would expect them to get back on the winning track tomorrow night against Dallas, which tends to happen with Dallas semi-regularly. But again, that's why they play the games, as they say. All right, next up, Arizona. Coyotes, suddenly hot, in against the suddenly hot LA Kings. Now, are they hot, or is it just a really short span of decent games? Tomorrow night is going to decide whether one of them or both or neither are really in that category. The way you get to neither is if it's a 1-0 score and a shootout victory. That's how you can find out neither of them are really on the upswing yet. But Arizona's 16-18-2. LA's 14-20-3, which means Arizona has a mildly better record than does LA. And Arizona really needs to assert themselves on the road. But over their last 10, Arizona's 3-7. They won 2 in a row. LA's 4-4-2. They won 3 in a row. Leading scorers for Arizona and LA are both kind of sad when you look at it compared to the rest of the league. Keller leads the way for Arizona with 8 goals, 18 assists, followed by Schmaltz with 6 goals, 17 assists. Ekman Larson, 4 goals, 15 assists. Stepan, 8 goals, 9 assists. Richardson, 10 goals, 4 assists. Galchenyuk, 5 goals, 9 assists. And Fisher is the one that I think is kind of a disappointment. He has 8 goals and 2 assists, but he had a hat trick early in the season. So outside of that one game, he's had 7 points this year. Got to be better than that. Goaltenders, I kind of expect Kemper here. Kemper's 5-9-2 with a 2.81 goals against, 911 save percentage. And of course, he was King's property at one point. Hill is 6-3 with a 2.2 goals against, 918 save percentage. On the LA side of things, their leading scorer, Kopitar, 8 goals, 15 assists. Doughty, 2 goals, 18 assists. Iafallo, 9 goals, 11 assists for him. He seems to be heating up again. Brown, 9 goals, 10 assists. And Kovalchuk, 7 goals, 10 assists. I didn't track guys who were disappointing because, honestly, there's been a lot of them for LA scoring-wise. And despite the victory over Vegas here in 4-3, their stats still are not where you want them to be. I expect Quick in this game tomorrow night after a long layoff. He's 4-8-2 with a 3.06 goals against, 900 save percentage. Of course, Peterson's now 5-4-1 with a 2.61 goals against, 924 save percentage. Peterson's got a record of above 500. Play Cal Peterson. Play him a lot. If you want to see the Kings potentially get back into the running, I really think Peterson's the guy that they should be playing for 50% of the games. Quick, Peterson, split their games. When Campbell comes back, flip a coin. I'm not sure what they're going to do when Campbell comes back. I know Peterson's play has to make things more difficult for management. It's not just simply, we'll just send him to the minors when Campbell comes back. All right, that said, let's move on to the next game. Carolina's in Washington. Carolina Hurricanes 15-15-3 in against the Capitals, who are 22-10-3. This looks like a mismatch in almost every way. And when you look at their last 10, Carolina's 3-6-1. They won their last game. Washington 7-3 in their last 10. They won their last 2. So that looks like a mismatch too. Leading scorers, Aho leads the way for Carolina with 14 goals, 24 assists. Teravainen, 8 goals, 21 assists. Williams, 7 goals, 13 assists. Svechnikov, 10 goals, 8 assists. And Ferland with 11 goals and 5 assists, 16 points. Disappointing scorer is Hamilton for me with 3 goals and 7 assists. Got to be better than that. Even though Carolina's not scoring, Hamilton's a big part of that too. He's got to be better. Goaltenders, I kind of expect Mrazek tomorrow. Mrazek 6-7-2 with a 2.62 goals against, 898 save percentage. McElhinney 7-4-1, 2.42 goals against, 918 save percentage. On the Washington side of things, Ovechkin leads the way in scoring with 29 goals, 15 assists for 44 points. Backstrom 10 goals, 31 assists. Carlson 5 goals, 30 assists. Kuznetsov 7 goals, 25 assists. Connolly 8 goals, 14 assists. And on the disappointing side, Andrei Burakovsky with 5 goals, 3 assists. He's on the market. Everybody knows he's on the market. He's been a healthy scratch. And I think somebody's going to overpay for him. I have a funny feeling that his potential is being seen and not the reality of what he is. And I think somebody's going to overpay Washington for his services, especially if there's more than one team in on it and there's a bidding war. I expect Holtby tomorrow night. Holtby's 14-8-2, 2.79 goals against, 913 save percentage, which would make Copley the backup. He's 8-2-1 with a 2.67 goals against and a 912 save percentage. Overall, all the numbers would seem to favor Washington. Washington's excellent at home. They're just playing really, really well, and they are starting to look like the team that won the Stanley Cup last year. And Ovechkin might be playing some of the best hockey of his career, which is really, really impressive considering this is a guy that we've seen score well over 600 goals. And right now we can look and say, he's probably playing his best hockey right now. Kind of a special time to be watching hockey, if you ask me. All these really solid offensive seasons that are all of a sudden happening. Next up, Detroit's in Pittsburgh. This is a matchup. There's no way to cut this that it doesn't look like a mismatch. Detroit's 15-17-6. Pittsburgh now is 18-12-6. Pittsburgh's record's getting a lot better. Detroit's still meandering. And Pittsburgh's been really, really solid lately. Detroit is 3-5-2 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. Pittsburgh's 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. They scared me the whole way through, and now they're proving that my fears were realized. Right now they look like a solid bet to make the playoffs and potentially be dangerous when they get there. Leading scorers for Detroit, Larkin, 15 goals, 21 assists. Nyquist, 9 goals, 22 assists. Nielsen, 7 goals, 15 assists. Athanasiou, 11 goals, 9 assists. Bertuzzi, 9 goals and 11 assists. Goaltenders, I expect Howard for Detroit if he's healthy. 10-8-4 is his record, 2.66 goals against, 922 save percentage. Bernier's 5-9-2 with a 3.47 goals against, 893 save percentage. On the Pittsburgh side of things, their leading scorer is now Sidney Crosby, 16 goals and 25 assists for 41 points. He's now ahead by 4 points over everybody else. Malkin's got 11 goals, 26 assists. Kessel, 14 goals, 23 assists. Jake Gensel at 15 goals and 18 assists. Letang, 8 goals and 20 assists. I didn't have anybody who's disappointing for Detroit, but for Pittsburgh, I had Brassard at 4 goals and 5 assists, and Jack Johnson at 1 goal and 7 assists. I warned during the summer, I really thought Johnson regressed badly in Columbus, and I haven't seen anything in Pittsburgh yet to tell me that's not still the case. Goaltenders, they can go with whichever one. They're both playing well right now. Murray's 7-5-1 with a 3.4 goals against, 900 save percentage. DeSmith's 11-6-4 with a 2.42 goals against, 926 save percentage. Overall, the numbers for Pittsburgh, the underlying numbers are getting better. Their goaltending's getting better. Everything you might have hung your hat on and said, okay, this is what's going to be the downfall of Pittsburgh, kind of going sideways. You can point at their defense and say, well, their defense is still suspect without Schultz and Alexiak getting hurt. They're still solid, yes. I think Rutherford's going to be looking to pick up a defenseman soon, but they're still pretty solid. And there's enough scoring going on right now, and their goaltending solid enough that it kind of makes up for any other deficiencies that are existing on that team. So that makes things a lot more difficult for everybody else in that division who thought, hey, maybe Pittsburgh's done. Nope. Next up, Philly and Tampa. The Philadelphia Flyers are 15-16-4. They're in against the 28-7-2. Dear Lord, they're better this year than last year, Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa's absolutely on a mission. Now, whether they end up with a President's Trophy and then they flame out, that's the question that we all have, right? Because we've seen teams cruise to President's Trophies and then flame out. Case in point would be the Washington Capitals, right? They would win. They're the best team in the league. Playoffs? Nope. So Tampa's got a lot to prove in the playoffs, but getting there, they've been fantastic. Over their last 10, Philadelphia's 4-4-2. They won their last game. Tampa's 9-0-1. They've won 3 in a row. They're embarrassing the rest of the league. That one overtime loss, of course, was against Winnipeg. Totally forgettable, not a big deal. Now they're at home. Look out, NHL. Leading scorers for Philly, Giroux has 12 goals and 30 assists. Voracek, 9 goals and 19 assists. Couturier, 14 goals, 13 assists. Konechny, 9 goals, 12 assists. Simmons, 11 goals, 5 assists. On the disappointing side of things, I have Patrick with 5 goals and 6 assists. I know he's shown signs, but for me, Nolan Patrick's 5 goals, 6 assists really stands out. And Laterra. Not talking about Laterra in a specific video yet, but the 1 goal and 2 assists, probably not what they had in mind when they picked him up. On the Tampa Bay side of things, Kucherov leads the team in scoring with 16 goals, 41 assists. Braden Point is next with 21 goals, 26 assists. Stamkos, 20 goals and 19 assists. Johnson, 16 goals, 11 assists. Miller, 7 goals, 19 assists. Sergachev with 12 assists. Goaltending, I expect Vasilevsky here for Tampa. Domingue is 15-4 with a 2.99 goals against, 904 save percentage. Vasi, 12-3-2, 2.39 goals against, and a 928 save percentage. On the Philly side of things in net, I kind of expect Neuwirth. He's 1-2 with a 4.33 goals against, 833 save percentage. Carter Hart, of course, 2-1 with a 2.36 goals against, 904 save percentage. Philadelphia, they need some help in net. Maybe that help is going to be Neuwirth and Hart. Maybe that's going to be the duo. And then when Elliott gets healthy, I guess you send Hart back down and you hope that Elliott's capable of running the shop, or however you want to put it, manning the nets. And the carousel in Philly will continue. That being said, let's go ahead and move along. Next up, Columbus. Yes, the Blue Jackets. Right here, 21-12-3 in against the 15-14-6 New York Rangers. Minus that really nice hot streak the Rangers had about a month ago. It's been a forgettable season for the Rangers in general. And I think they're missing that go-to scorer, that number one guy, who someday could be Anderson, could be Hedel. But for right now, they are lacking that presence. Kevin Hayes has been trying to fill that role, but I'm not going to say mixed reaction or mixed results, but Hayes isn't really a top, absolute, fantastic star player. On the Columbus side, they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. The Rangers are 2-4-4 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. So these are two teams going in two different directions. And I don't know that tomorrow night's going to show us any different. I would expect Columbus to go in and win this one. Columbus is excellent on the road. Panarin's 11 goals, 28 assists, leads Columbus in scoring. Atkinson's next at 23 goals, 15 assists. Dubois, 13 goals, 18 assists. Jones, 6 goals, 14 assists. Foligno, 9 goals, 10 assists. And on the disappointing side, Riley Nash, 1 goal, 3 assists. I mentioned there's a number of Bruins that I have as the disappointing scorers. Goaltending, I expect Bobrovsky tomorrow night, which means Korpisalo at 5-2-2. 3.54 goals against, 885 save percentage would be the backup. Bobrovsky, 16-10-1, 2.68 goals against, 913 save percentage. On the Rangers side of things, their leading scorers, Zibanejad, 11 goals, 19 assists. Hayes, 10 goals, 20 assists. Kreider, 17 goals, 8 assists. VC, 9 goals, 10 assists. And Pionk, 5 goals, 14 assists for him. On the disappointing side, I have Brady Shea there at 3 goals and 8 assists. And Strome, 3 goals, 5 assists, because Ryan Strome's there. Goaltending, I expect Lundqvist tomorrow night. He's 10-9-6, 2.83 goals against, 915 save percentage. And Georgiev, 5-5, 3.2 goals against, 899 save percentage. Very highly likely he's the backup for the New York Rangers tomorrow night. This could be a big game for the Rangers because with where they're sitting and how far out of the playoffs they are, they need to put together a bit of a streak. And you have a divisional opponent here. You can't let them get further ahead of you. Right now it's 36 points for the Rangers. It's 45 for Columbus. Columbus wins in regulation. That puts them 11 points ahead of the Rangers. Even though we have so many games left, odds are that's probably a hill too high to climb if you're the New York Rangers. Next up, New Jersey. Yes, the New Jersey Devils, 12-16-7. So they've won 12 out of 35 games. It's been brutal. And I know there's Devil fans that watch my power rankings this week and said, oh, you got them too low and, you're biased. That's just stupid. They're not the worst in the league. Right now they are. I really believe that they are. And for the Bruins, they're 20-13-4. This is a big game for them because the New Jersey Devils come in as probably the worst team on the road in the NHL. So for Boston, again, you've got a team coming in that's cold on the road. New Jersey's 3-5-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game. For the Bruins, they're 6-4-0, but they lost their last game. So 6-4 in their last 10 is decent. They lost their last game. I've got some concerns because I'm a Bruins fan. That's what I do. I worry. On the New Jersey side, their top scorer is Taylor Hall with 11 goals, 26 assists, followed by Paul Mary, 18 goals, 15 assists. Heischer's next at 9 goals, 14 assists. Zajac, 10 goals, 9 assists. Severson, 4 goals, 14 assists. Butcher is on the disappointing side for me with 2 goals, 9 assists. Based on his totals from last year, that's a disappointment. Pavel Zacha, 5 goals for him. That's a disappointment in 30 games, definitely. Goaltenders, I expect Kincaid tomorrow. Blackwood's 0-1 with a 2.24 goals against, 930 save percentage. Kincaid's 12-10-6 with a 3.02 goals against, 901 save percentage. On the Boston side of things, Pasternak leads the way in scoring with 23 goals and 24 assists, followed by Marchand with 12 goals, 29 assists. Krejci, 7 goals, 23 assists. Bergeron, 11 goals, 19 assists. Krug, 4 goals, 18 assists. Backus is on the disappointing side for me with 3 goals and 7 assists. Donato, disappointing as well with 5 goals and 2 assists. I know they're trying to get Donato integrated into the top 6 and get him going again, but I do have my doubts that he has that in him for this season anyways. Goaltenders, I expect Halak. Rask is at 8-2 with a 2.72 goals against, 911 save percentage. Halak is at 12-5-2 with a 2.19 goals against and a 930 save percentage. So, again, if I was going to wager on who was going to win this, I'd say, yeah, Boston should win. They're at home. New Jersey's on the road. Right. It's tough sometimes believing that just because you cheer for a team, they're going to not win. But, you kind of get there. All right. Next up, Minnesota and Chicago. So the Minnesota Wild, 17-15-3, in against the Hawks, who are 13-20-6. But the Hawks seem to be getting better, and Minnesota doesn't. Right now, the Wild look like they're not a playoff team, and they're not in the playoffs. So I'm not telling any tales here. I'm not, throwing shade. They're not in the playoffs. They've backed their way out. Over their last 10, Minnesota's 3-6-1. They lost 4 in a row. Chicago's 4-5-1. They lost their last game. Granlund's leading Minnesota in scoring with 11 goals, 23 assists, followed by Parise, 15 goals, 14 assists. Suter, 4 goals, 22 assists. Stahl, 12 goals, 11 assists. Dumba, of course, he's out for 3 months now. 12 goals and 10 assists. Disappointing scorers, I have Coyle at 5 goals, 11 assists. Marcus Foligno, 2 goals, 2 and 4 assists. 2 goals. I know Foligno's not a big goal scorer. I know he's not a big point producer. But those numbers just don't work. I expect Dubnyk in net. He's 12-12-3 with a 2.59 goals against, 913 save percentage. Stalock would be the backup at 5-3 with a 2.65 goals against and a 904 save percentage. On the Chicago side of things, Kane would be the leading scorer, 17 goals and 27 assists. Taves, 16 goals and 16 assists for him. DeBrincat, 17 goals, 14 assists. Saad, 9 goals, 11 assists. And Gustafsson with 8 goals and 10 assists. Disappointing scorers, I have Perlini at 4 goals and 5 assists. And Kunitz with 2 assists. I'm not sure. Whatever Chicago brought him in for, I'm not sure that he's fulfilling that. And I know he's older and he's not expected to score, but just I don't know how long the experiment of Kunitz as a Blackhawk is going to go on. Delia's, of course, got a 1-0-0 record, 1.01 goals against, 972 save percentage. I expect Ward in net, 6-6-4, 3.9 goals against, 886 save percentage. For Blackhawk fans, yes, I know Crawford's been back on the ice, and they're talking about him coming back. I'm telling you right bloody now, the guy's going to end up with a concussion that ends everything. I understand that he's very competitive and he wants to play, but I absolutely, if I was the general manager and the coach, I would shut him down for the season. The Hawks are not making the playoffs. It makes absolutely no sense to put Corey Crawford in the net again this year. None. Just have him sit. Just have him rest and relax. And then in October, if he's good to go, great. But otherwise, I'm telling you, I would not put him in the net. And I'm not being swayed on this. There is nothing that will sway me on this. He was having an absolutely ridiculously bad season because the team in front of him was really bad. Do we really want to risk him getting run over again and end up not just losing his career, but having the rest of his life affected? No, it's not worth it. All right, I'm going to climb down off my soapbox and move on to the next game. Vancouver's in Edmonton, and this is going to be a very interesting one because according to fans everywhere, both teams are garbage. 17-18-4 Vancouver, 18-15-3 Oilers. Both teams shouldn't even bother playing. That's what I keep reading. Edmonton's terrible. Vancouver's terrible. This game doesn't matter. And yet you've got some of the most exciting players in the game up against each other, and these teams should be able to pick up where they left off, which is not liking each other a whole lot. Vancouver's 6-3-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. Edmonton's 5-4-1. They've lost 3 in a row. So there should be some animosity here, and there should be some desperation in their game as well. Pettersson leads Vancouver in scoring with 17 goals, 19 assists. Horvat's got 17 goals and 17 assists. Besser, 12 goals, 11 assists. Goldobin, 5 goals, 16 assists. Virtanen, 11 goals and 7 assists, not 17 goals. Not happening. Pouliot is a disappointing guy for me with Vancouver with 2 goals, 3 assists. And Schaller, 5 assists, just hasn't been living up to, again, former Boston guy, right? Hasn't been living up to even the modest totals I thought he would get. Just hasn't been there. In net, I expect Markstrom. Nilsson's 3-7-1 with a 3.01 goals against, 900 save percentage. Markstrom's 14-10-3 with a 2.87 goals against and a 907 save percentage. On the Edmonton side of things, Draisaitl is 19 goals and 33 assists for 52 points. Draisaitl 17 goals, 26 assists. So McDavid and Draisaitl, and then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with 12 goals and 21 assists rounds out the top 3. Then Chason, 16 goals and 4 assists. Nurse, who's playing well despite the fallback of the team and how Clefbaum's out. Nurse, 5 goals and 11 assists for him. Now, on the disappointing side, I'm going to mention Lucic, 1 goal and 6 assists. Spooner, 3 goals and 2 assists for him. In net, I expect Koskinen. Koskinen's got 11 goals and 5 assists, 11 goals. 11 wins, 5 losses, 1 overtime loss. 2.34 goals against, 925 save percentage. Remember, at the time I'm recording this, it is currently 10 after 2 in the morning. So I'm tired. Talbot's 7-10-2 with a 3.21 goals against, 894 save percentage. So there's your Vancouver Edmonton game, and your guess is as good as mine on this one, but it's going to be a fun one. So considering when I get home tomorrow night, I'm likely going to miss this, which is too bad. But should be a fun game to watch highlights of when I get home for the review video, which will be done tomorrow night when I get home. All right, next up. Colorado's here tomorrow. Now I fly out tomorrow, so Vegas fans will be like, yay, we can win again. I don't think I directly affected what was going on the ice. I don't. And I do think there are some concerns with Vegas right now. But let's talk about some stuff here. Colorado comes in 19-12-6. Vegas is 20-15-4. Colorado's very good on the road. Vegas is usually very good at home. They've had some struggles lately. Fleury's looked kind of frustrated. And I'm wondering if he's being overworked or if it's the defense in front of him that's frustrating him. How much do they miss Colin Miller? Is a question I was asking myself during those 2 games I watched as well. Over their last 10, Colorado's 3-6-1. They've lost 2 in a row. Vegas is 5-2-3, and they've lost 2 in a row as well, both of them in overtime. I witnessed both. Leading scorers, Colorado's Rantanen, 16 goals, 43 assists. McKinnon, 22 goals, 34 assists. Landeskog, 24 goals, 19 assists. Barry, 4 goals, 20 assists. Soderberg, 10 goals, 12 assists to round out the top 5 scorers for Colorado. Disappointing, Tyson Jost, 4 goals, 7 assists. Andrighetto, 3 goals, 2 assists. To me, it's still disappointing. I know he's not expected to be a big scorer, but still. Varlamov is expected to be the starter, I would think. Grubauer's 8-3-3, 3.16 goals against, 900 save percentage. Varlamov's 11-8-3, 2.79 goals against, 913 save percentage. At what point does Grubauer's better win-loss record mean he starts getting some more starts? I can see that coming. On the Vegas side of things, Carlson leads them in scoring with 14 goals, 15 assists. Marchessault, 13 goals, 16 assists. Smith, 8 goals, 18 assists. Tuck, 12 goals, 14 assists. Eakin, 11 goals, 9 assists. Carpenter, 1 goal, 7 assists. Stastny and Carpenter are the guys who disappoint me. So Carpenter's 1 goal, 7 assists is disappointing compared to last year and just compared to what might have been expected of him this year. And for me, Stastny, even though he's only played 9 games, 2 goals and 1 assist does not get it done. I know he's still learning his way, and I know that may seem like nitpicking, but to me, he wasn't a difference maker in the positive. Not lately. Fleury I expect to be the starter. He's 20-10-4 with a 2.65 goals against, 906 save percentage. That would make Subban the backup at 0-5, 3.48 goals against, and an 880 save percentage. For Vegas, this is a big game. They need to turn things around, and for Colorado, it is equally a big game for them. They have to be worried about the fact that their momentum is now in the wrong direction. They're over their last 10. They're 3-6-1, and that just simply isn't going to get it done for them. If they have another 10-game period where they only win 3 games, we may start talking about Colorado and how they back their way out of the playoffs. So, of course, that remains to be seen. We got a ways to go. So, last game of the night is Anaheim and San Jose. Aren't you glad we're there? I'm glad we're there. I'm really glad. Anaheim's 6-4 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. Getzlaf is their leading scorer, 9 goals and 20 assists. Henrique, 7 goals, 13 assists. Raquel, who's been hurt, 5 goals, 15 assists. Aberg, 11 goals, 8 assists. Montour, 5 goals, 14 assists. Disappointing scorers, Kessler, 4 goals, 2 assists. He's dropped right off the map as far as his offense goes. And Gibbons, 2 assists. I think Brian Gibbons would welcome a trade back to New Jersey, and I think New Jersey might welcome him back. I don't see Gibbons fitting in very well in Anaheim, and the scoring hasn't been there. Goaltenders, I expect Gibson. Gibson's 15-11-4, 2.52 goals against, 926 save percentage, which will make Johnson the backup. Johnson's got a combined record of 2-7, 3.38 goals against, 886 save percentage. San Jose 6-2-2 in their last 10, but they've lost 3 in a row. So when people talk about Vegas falling apart or Edmonton falling apart, the whole division has kind of fallen apart over the last couple of weeks. There's nobody in the division that seems to have been spared other than Los Angeles. San Jose's leading scorers, Couture with 13 goals, 23 assists. Burns, 4 goals, 31 assists. Meyer, 18 goals, 16 assists. Pavelski, 23 goals, 7 assists. And Hurdle, 12 goals, 7 assists, 12 goals, 17 assists for 29 points. I couldn't come up with a disappointing scorer for San Jose. I would expect Jones as the starter. Jones is 14-8-4 with a 2.86 goals against, 898 save percentage, which would make Dell the backup. Dell 5-4-3 with a 2.69 goals against, 904 save percentage. This is a tough one to call. San Jose's at home. I would give them the edge. But both of them have been cold over the last couple of weeks. And I think there's been more bad bounces on San Jose's side than Anaheim. So I think the law of averages says San Jose should win this. But again, it is really difficult to predict at this time of year, especially when you're getting into the dog days. And you guys will see it in January, where a lot of the better teams in the league will suddenly have kind of crappy records in January. And some of the lesser lights are the teams with better records in January, just because it's really hard to keep that record going for a full 82-game schedule. So there you go. Let me know your picks for tomorrow. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And I'm well aware that by saying tomorrow's games, I kind of mean today's because it's so late. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.